The term liturgy is an important word in the life of the church, as well as in Kavanaugh's text on torture and Eucharist. So the term liturgy comes from two Greek words, which you can see on the screen there, and they mean like public and working. So during the first century, liturgy had to do with a public person using their own resources in service to the community, investing in the community, or as Karl Barth will say in some of our other reading for this week, the upbuilding of the community, using scriptural language there. So as the term liturgy became associated with a public form of worship in the church in particular, it took on the role of creating an identity for a particular people. So a group of people who were not a people become a people through a common language and a common set of practices. And so liturgy, in this sense, shapes the values and the worldview of a people. And Kavanaugh uses the language of discipline here in conjunction with his language of liturgy. And he probably gets this, I'm guessing, I would imagine, from Michel Foucault, who really brought the idea of discipline as this mode of identity formation into the mainstream discourse during the middle of the 20th century. So since then, the term has gone beyond just philosophical or theological discourse. So we have like the 4 disciplines of execution as a business textbook, the 7 habits of highly effective people. So these disciplines, these are the activities that we use, the things that we read, the habits that we create, that altogether start to form us in a particular way. We can do it intentionally by pursuing a particular outcome for who we want to be. It can happen accidentally without us knowing it. But these liturgies, these disciplines, they change the way we understand and interpret the world. They change the way the world means. They change the way the world signifies to us. So, in the church, liturgy functions in a very similar way. The patterns of our readings, of our prayers, of our songs and hymns, the deployment of the sacraments, the way we order our services, these are the disciplines that shape our corporate and our ecclesial identity. Now, if our liturgy doesn't feel relevant, if we don't sense it as being relevant, if it doesn't capture us, if it doesn't seem to connect with the daily life of our people or maybe ourselves as ministers, right? What do we do with that? Is that the problem with our liturgy? Or is it a result of the people that we've become outside of the church? Is it the result of other liturgies deploying themselves on our lives, secular, political, consumerist, liberalist liturgies, these alternative disciplines that have already shaped us as particular people before we ever enter the church? And are those alternative liturgies that are so prevalent in our culture, are they perhaps more powerful, more compelling, more plausible than the liturgies of our churches? Provocatively, Kavanaugh says this is how torture works. Torture is a liturgy. And perhaps, just perhaps, if the church can resist the liturgy of torture in Chile, then maybe it can learn to resist the liturgies of consumerism and liberalism as well.